Kevin and John have not had much going on for the last 20 years that they've been friends. Still they miss that hit show that was on HBO. But it's time to whip out Cosmopolitans. Now they're just two dudes watching Sex in the City, and they're probably gonna miss the point, cause they're Sex in the City, oh. Sex in the City, oh. Sex in the City, oh.
Hard and fast. Hey everybody, welcome to Sex and the City. My name is Kevin McCaffrey, and I'm here with your friend, Big Daddy
hard and fast. It's John Daly.
Big Daddy hard and fast. Bigger Daddy every day. We were saying gaining weight in quarantine. Not just John, everybody. That's what we're doing.
But I'd like to think I'm leading everyone in the charge to gain weight.
I think if you wanted to, you could. I did, just because I believe in you.
Take the John Daly challenge. Gain a pound a day.
Outbeef me. That's the challenge. Hey, follow us on Instagram at Sex in the City. Follow us on Twitter at Sex City Pod. And if you want a very nice thing that happened, I stumbled across a friend of ours, a listener, friend of the show, at Luddite Poser, I believe, posted about us on Reddit. And we knew that, but I checked the Reddit thread, and there was a bunch of new listeners coming from Reddit. So, I hadn't seen it until a couple days ago. So welcome, great. Reddit friends. If you want to post about how much fun you're having listening to us on Reddit, feel free. One person posted my favorite comment. I should have it right here to read verbatim, but it was something like, really enjoyed it, but they seem a little misogynistic, which is like a weird combination of thoughts, because if we're misogynistic, don't enjoy us. But
just a little bit, Kevin.
The OP,
we're trying to learn.
Yes, we're listening. The OP, that's original poster, had our backs, and it was agreed that the other person was mistaken. We're not misogynistic. The verdict's in. So
I would not. If someone told me I was a little misogynistic, and I guess they have on the internet, but I wouldn't. I would probably be like, okay, yeah, all right, that probably scans.
You know why? Because you're a feminist. That's why. It's a mind fuck.
What are we on Parler, by the way? You mentioned Twitter, but for our alt-right friends that have been booted off Twitter.
I was going to say, I did not know what you were speaking of just now. Parler is what it's called?
It's where free speech can actually have a social media platform, Kevin.
Okay, cool.
Have you never heard of this?
No, I haven't. Man. You run our Parler account. You should. Can you please get us started on Parler? Get us real people who are really, really hardcore alt-right Sex in the City fan. I guess there must be someone like that out there. But yeah, that'd be fucking weird as hell, dude. But whatever gets us downloads, baby. I don't care.
Wow. We're selling out. Who's buying?
Can't wait to sell it. Dirty Fun Box has purchased before. They're buying. That's the answer. But follow us at Sex in the City. It's on Instagram, at Sex City It's Pod on Twitter. And this episode, John, it's episode 6.9. I'd be remiss if I did not mention that 6 and 9 are sex numbers.
They're individually, I guess they're sex numbers, perhaps, but together, even more so. Together, I guess they're sex numbers. Individually, I guess in this analogy, they're just people either standing or upside down. I guess. An upside down person. Yeah. Yep. So this episode 6.9, nice. It was called A Woman's Right to Shoes. Mm-hmm. And that's when Carrie gets drunk and accidentally orders a very expensive pair of shoes that takes 9 months to make, and she has to decide whether she wants to actually go through with getting those shoes or terminate the order. Yeah. Have to, depends. It's a state by state thing, the return policy, I guess. It's tough. This was a tough one to play the John Daly lay out the plot based on the title, because this title made me roll my eyes so hard I fell down almost. No. It's a fun title. It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
CoolSexyDad.com says it's a good title.
Dude, get that website.
There's no way it's not taken.
Well, I'm going to look it up. But this A Woman's Right to Choose, the HBO recap, said when Carrie's Manolos are stolen from a friend's party, it seems her single lifestyle also robs her of the right to complain. Charlotte deals with the loss of a garment, parenthesis, or two, as Harry makes himself comfortable at home. Miranda spots potential in her new neighbor, Robert, and Samantha loses a battle for restaurant rights to a child. My first take on this is that Samantha does not actually have a storyline, so we actually did not need to include her there.
No, not really. I do. I did write that she got pestoed, which is like, I don't know, not a phrase I get to write too often.
You got pestoed, bitch. Yeah, she definitely did get pestoed, though. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
By a real shit of a kid.
Yeah, he's a stinker. He's the kind of kid that should have like a giant lolly and is licking it and kind of swinging it around and sticking it to things. He's a stinker. He's a stinker.
He's a stinker, just like all of Charlotte's couches are stinkers now because of the way Harry was treating him with his bum, which we will get to. But first, John, I have...
Oh, give me the stats, baby! Oh.
What are you drinking, first of all? Then we'll stat you up.
Woo! It's Natter Day. Natter Day time. I love it, dude. These little bastards. It's 18 for a 30-pack, man. And they taste good, and they are good, and they're in a pink can. It's delicious.
I love it. To me, it's big dad energy that you always tell us how much you can get for the price. You give us the price and quantity rundown.
It's big dad energy, and it's like college kid energy too, a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Right. Which are opposites, kind of. You can be a dad in college, but don't.
Probably not great. Unless you're like going back to school later in life. And
Rodney Dangerfield style. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or old school. Yeah.
Triple
Lindy. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. I am drinking a cocktail of an undetermined name.
From parts unknown.
From parts unknown. Hold on. From parts unknown. Just play the Vader sound effect. It's my wife Jamie made it for me. It is lemon, two kinds of vodka. One of them is apple vodka, and then it also, I believe it's lemon vodka and apple vodka, orange juice, lime, and honey simple syrup. This is like one of the fanciest beverages I've had to open the show.
That's great. Should we allow time for people to? I know people are drinking along at home.
Yeah.
Or wherever they are, in the car, at work.
Sure, all the appropriate places to drink while watching your kids, somewhere dangerous.
If they need to, if we should just kind of fill time really quick while they make the cocktail at home that they can drink along with us.
Sure, we can fill time by telling you who directed this. It was Tim Van Patten, who is the half-brother of your boy Dick Van Patten. And Tim Van Patten...
He's old, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Dick...
nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Right.
I just wouldn't have thought Dick Van Patten. I am ageist.
We are ageist on this show, yes, for sure. Yeah, no, I think Dick Van Patten, I would say, is older, maybe alive. That I don't know. Refuse to check. But Tim Van Patten directed a lot of stuff for HBO. Boardwalk Empire, Deadwood, Game of Thrones, Sopranos, The Wire, and Sex and the City, and he also will direct next week's episode when we get to it. Also, fun fact about Tim Van Patten, he was also an actor who played Mario, quote-unquote, Salami Petrino on The White Shadow.
Oh, he plays Salami. I love The White Shadow.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it used to be on Nick at Night. I used to watch it on Nick at Night a lot. It was great, dude.
Salami directed this episode.
That's great. I have a hard time remembering what the kids actually look like or anything like that, but no, that show was good. I wish it was in more stuff. I wish it was like available again, I guess.
As far as directors go, what's your favorite lunch meat?
I'm a Mike Baloney guy.
Hard to argue.
You know, he's a kind of a working class director, nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fairly inexpensive to
Done
hire.
some Blue Bloods, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And this aired August 17th, 2003, popped to 6.74. That's right where you expect to be ratings.
And this is like the sort of Iraqi invasion episode. This is what was going on when the tanks were rolling into Baghdad.
And you can feel that. I think you can sense in the energy of this episode that we're a nation at war, and you know, and the war. It's it's between singles and marrieds again.
I couldn't help but wonder: are my oil fields on fire?
Is a child something shoes of mass destruction? There we go. You fill in the jokes. I'm tired. Yeah, so John, I say this a lot, and we both say this a lot, but I feel like this episode shouldn't be too long. I feel like there's a couple major themes, and that's it. But I guess we'll see. We'll see when the clock runs out where we're at. Where do you want to start?
Oh man. Well, you know what we talked about Samantha. Let's just kind of because that one's like literally two sentences basically. One is and we'll get to it later for other reasons, teabagging is brought up in great detail. And that provided, I mean, I don't know if that's the clip of the week or not, but in my mind, hearing her talk about teabagging was very funny.
It was considered. I'll put that in here now because
he checked with the judges. He looked over to the side and he got the nod. All right, we'll play that one too.
Legally, 2 clips of the week? Okay. Yeah, the budget's going up.
It's a double save.
Yep. We're blowing up on Reddit. We can do whatever the fuck we want now. So,
I do like the idea that people are starting to listen on Reddit, and they're going to take like months before they get to now when we acknowledge them.
We're gonna be huge in like 3 years.
Yep. We're the Velvet Underground of podcasts.
You've always said that. So, so Samantha, fun quote about teabagging. And I would say at first it was a too obvious sex pun for me at first. But then when she explained it in a very basic way after a super long pause, that takes it up a notch comedy-wise for me.
It's, they really, it seemed obvious at first. And like you said, they did it. It's like a Letterman thing where he keeps doing the joke over and over again, and it's like, oh, this is annoying. Now it's funny. Now it's annoying. Now it's even funnier. That sort
Absolutely.
Of thing.
When you're sucking his balls.
It gets me. Kevin, you seem like a teabagging guy. It seems like you're into.
Now, when you another Natter Day 2. Even nattery.
I'm gonna I have a week up here, Kevin. I got a whole natter week.
Sweet. Do you honestly think I'm a teabag guy?
No. It's weird because you don't think of teabagging as being. It's not like, sometimes there's teabagging thrown in, but it's not the main event.
It's not a destination.
No.
Certainly for me, and I think for most. I think if anything, it almost maybe there will be an accidental partial teabag. I think
some tea is made. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's not a long steeping.
Are you a teabaggy guy?
I don't mind. Yeah. It's a zesty enterprise.
Teabagging, a zesty enterprise. This episode is brought to you by the concept of teabagging. Should we get sponsorship by Twinnings or Twinings? What's the teabag company?
Yeah, I'm a Lipton's guy. I'm basic.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if we could get Lipton's, we would. It's the biggest money.
I've mostly heard about teabagging as a sort of concept of sort of a frat move, boys pranking boys sort of deal.
Right. I guess it's putting your balls in someone's mouth I think your first reaction to it would not be like sexy. I think your first reaction is like, that's funny, you know? So I think that's how it ends up being a frat.
That's not where those things go.
Yeah. Whoa, what? Excuse me.
Yeah. It's like a toe in the butt. It's like, I don't know. I hadn't really thought of it, I guess.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I object. This is really off menu, but okay. Yeah, so Samantha has some funny teabag talk. Great. That's cool. And then she's like, we've seen this in Samantha before, where she's just kind of over the top anti-kid, I think, where it's just like, and I get it. Like, kids have been annoying. I've seen it. I've been one, all of it. But Samantha, like, you know, human-wise, children have to exist somewhere.
I'm okay with the humanity dying out.
I mean, I am, kind of, but...
Nature's healing itself.
Yeah.
You know what? Samantha doesn't have time for kids because she can't have sex with them. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and if you think that's offensive, you're offensive because John's saying she doesn't do that.
Yeah, she doesn't do it.
Which she shouldn't. No one should.
Exactly. I'm afraid I'm going to get pestoed on Reddit now. I just feel like I'm going to get a digital pestoing.
Pesto me, daddy.
Yeah, it does feel like, we've been here before with Samantha. She's learned her lesson now. She hates kids again, kind of.
Yeah.
Kids are almost always annoying is the problem. But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Is that when you're around them long enough, you sift through all the annoying stuff and you get the gems. You get the beautiful, beautiful gems. But when you're just around them for like 30 minutes at a time, it could be all shit. It's 30 minutes of bullshit. And so that's not good. And if that's what you're walking away with, that's bad. But you get those beautiful morsels. And
I like that.
It's good.
I think that's a reasonable, fair, yet optimistic read on hanging out with children.
Thanks.
You know,
I hang out with a child now many hours of the day.
Almost every minute you're alive. Yeah. And another one's we were saying before, as this episode drops, John's baby almost surely has just dropped, like baby number 2. Mm-hmm. Well, update, of course, but
first baby.
Yeah, but you baby number 2 on the way. So you're just going to be spending more time with babies, or maybe not even more time, but the time is it's
divided.
Exponential. Yes, whatever it is. And then, so Sam, whatever, she's freaking out about kids. And then she sees later on, she's at a restaurant on a cell phone while this kid's being an asshole at this table, just super loud and sloppy in a fancy place where it is a little bit like, why are you taking your kid here? But Sam being on a cell phone by herself is also annoying. Mm-hmm. So, and I get where the waiter is telling her to shut down. She's like, well, that's loud and annoying too. She's not wrong, but the waiter's like, yeah, we can't do anything about that. It's a child. And
are you ordering a meal for your cell phone, by the way? The child's a customer.
That's a good point. That's honestly, capitalism-wise, a perfectly fine way to draw a distinction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm on the side of the stuffy waiter.
Right, but what he says it with an attitude, but we can't do anything, it's a kid. Like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, he's right, you know? It sucks, but whatever. That's all I had for Sam.
Yeah, that's it. That's all she had. But she did get the kid. It is brassy for her to like go up to the couple. It's a mother and a child.
Sure.
To be like, can you take this outside? I don't even remember what she said exactly.
Take him to
take him to a place where you can have a happy meal. So I can have a happy meal, which is like a okay turn of phrase.
Sure. I love it when people are complaining to me with clever turns of phrases. That always makes me feel better about the interaction.
Softens the blow a little bit, right?
Yeah. Wordplay as you demean to me. Yeah.
But the child throws pesto on her, which is great. And she's wearing like a white jacket too, which just adds to it. It's just so good. And then she is like, well, you bested me this round, child.
Yeah,
I made my point, you made yours. I guess I'll be on my way.
Right. Easy episode for Kim Cattrall. Good for you. Get that paycheck, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where do we go next?
Where do you want to go? And we're gonna get sued by Rockapella now.
They're
how
very
about
litigious? Yeah.
But the court cases have got to be so interesting. They sing the whole time on the witness stand.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, let's shake it up. Let's do Carrie next.
Okay, great. Carrie, this is the vast majority of the episode.
Right. That's
is a theme based on Carrie. I'm cool with doing that right now. She, at first, I couldn't help but wonder what's happening at first, because I couldn't tell if it's like a baby shower or like a baby birthday. It seems, correct me if I'm wrong, is this just like the baby was born and we're coming over to celebrate it? Like it's a fresh baby? Could you tell?
Yeah, I think this is baby number 3 for them. They have twins. This is baby number 3, so I think it's another. That's a good question. It's either baby shower for number 3, which people don't normally have, or it's a birthday, which there didn't seem to be enough kids around to make it a birthday. So
it was just they were having an occasion where people would bring their kid gifts, and that's what it is. The kids are named Milo and Allegra. And as far as kid names that are also non-drowsy allergy relief, one of the better ones, I guess.
Yeah. I would take Milo.
Yeah. Yeah. So the opening voiceover, Carrie says, single New Yorkers' weekends are all about buying the new Vogue, flowers, fresh flowers, and then it's like she's at a bunch of registries, basically.
Right. It's kind of a funny montage because like she goes there first for, I don't know, like an engagement, and then a wedding gift, and then bridal shower gift or whatever, and then baby gift, and like every time she goes she's less enthusiastic. It's more of a chore. But yeah,
her outfit reflects it. She gets like more and more casual too.
Right. So that was a good direction, I'd say. But eventually she does get the gift, and she goes to her friend's house with Sanford Blatchford's back, and he's wearing a snappy suit. He's looking good. He's got a gift too.
By the way, just saw Stanford Blatch in an episode of Friends. So just
wow,
it was fun to see him. I was hanging out with my mom, and he showed up on Friends, and I got very excited. So, but yeah, Blatch is accompanying her to this baby occasion, whatever it is. They've got their gifts. They go in, and then the first sign of trouble is the shoe pile at the front door. They're telling them, "Take your shoes off." Right,
and I don't know when. This seems like a thing that happens more often now. That is like not question. This almost seemed like a Seinfeld episode where it's like, what do you want me to do? Take off the shoes? That sort of thing. But yeah, I guess take off the shoes. It seems like it's not like the thing I do in my house necessarily, but people do it, and then when you go to their house you do it too, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's not, I just wrote down, like, has Carrie been indoors? This is
has Carrie been indoors?
What's the deal? Yeah, it's like I think it's fine to be like, oh, it's a shoes off place, all right, but she was like, has anyone ever taken off their shoes? Like,
scientists have theorized about taking off your shoes, but I don't know if it's ever been done.
Yes, that element it's not crazy. Some houses do it, some houses don't. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, if your friend had immigrant parents, you're taking your shoes off at the door. Like, apparently that's like a cultural thing. And it's, yeah, I mean, especially now where it's like we're paranoid about germs of all kinds, and paranoid is not the right word because it's just correct. But
right.
Like, yeah, it's a thing that happens.
Right.
But if you're having this many people over and everyone's shoes are off, I think it's on the host. You got to have a little more organization here. Maybe.
Perhaps you get one of your friends to be a shoe check. They don't get to participate in the party. They have to kind of watch the shoes the whole time. I it's hard to like talk about this without saying everything that happens all at once, but it is weird where it's like, if I had a pair of shoes that was $500 and like more now in 2020 bucks, basically, like I wouldn't leave a pile of $100 bills laying on the floor next to the door of a house or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if someone steals my shoes, they're getting away with $30 with decreased value or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you drove those fuckers off the lot, so the blue book value is already down. But yeah, I think so. Ultimately, what happens here is guest star Tatum O'Neal, by the way,
the lady from Bad News Bears.
She's the mean lady, or I'll say me. I don't like this lady at all. It'd be weird if you did. I think. You know, she's pretty comically Adam Sandler villain level bad through and through in this episode, I think. But
I'll tell you how bad she is, Kevin. I briefly considered coming here today pretending I liked her.
That's high praise. John's like, you know what would be a fun bit if I took the other side of this indefensible position? Yeah.
Carrie's got a lot of gall coming around here asking for repayment for her shoes or whatever.
Yeah, because so you're right, where it's like it's tough to go beat by beat here because it's just like a thing happens and then it's all about this. So as she gets up to leave at the end, these insufferable people, she and her husband, they're like, I just wrote down worst story for what they're saying on the couch to each other.
And that's why you don't steal Billy Joel's fire logs.
Yeah, which that I do want to hear that story. But it was just like all this it was like about bidding on a house, like their other house or something. It's just like rich bullshit. And it sucked. They suck.
You suck. This fucking thing sucks.
Yes. And then she's like, my shoes are gone. And they're just like, weird. And that's it. It's like, get up and fucking help the person look.
Yeah, she makes no effort at all during this, and it's almost like, man, is this like all from like Carrie's point of view, where like surely you'd at least make a token effort to be like, wow, I mean, I guess, oh look, maybe my kids took them into their bedroom or something, or like you really get the impression that this lady never even like got in touch with they have like a suspect of like, whoopsie, there was a mix-up, but she had apparently never even got in touch with them. I will say also, I kind of thought her lackadaisical approach at first is because they were smoking grass, Kevin. They were smoking grass. And like that, the sensible reason for taking off the shoes is that we don't want to track in dirt and shit for the twins. The twins will play over here and they'll eat the dirt or whatever.
Yeah, dirt-eating twins. They got...
dirt-eating twins. But apparently keeping reefer in the house is A-okay.
You dig that out of the dirt from what that's from the land and
from the devil's garden, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just like could not give less of a shit. And Carrie, when you were saying if I had expensive shoes, I wouldn't just like leave them. You wouldn't want to leave them there. But I think Carrie was taken off guard and was just trying to be cool and didn't want to make a big deal about her shoes at first. Right. I'm sure I could see myself being like, I'm sure it's fine. But then it's not fine. They get stolen. No. And if you are the host of the party, it's totally fair to ask everyone to take their shoes off. Fine. No big deal. If someone's shoes go missing, it's fucking on you. Unless you got the waiver at the door where it's like, we are not responsible for lost or stolen property, which still, yes, you are, get fucked. I was so angry at this lady about that. Like, and just the shamelessness. No guilt whatsoever. I'm someone who's feels guilty all the time. To be fair, I do terrible things on a consistent basis. I should feel guilty, but she has no conscience about this whatsoever. It's just like tough shit, I guess. Bye.
And also, I mean, you hosted the party, lady. You're the only person here who knows everyone that came to your party. You know,
yes.
Like. You also, it should disturb you deeply that one of your friends is a thief because there was no leftover shoes. No one put on the wrong shoes and walked out, and then, oh, here they are. Here's the pair that they should have put on. Someone put on their shoes, and then it's all these Manolo Blanquis, and they said, I'm riding these Blanquis on out of town.
Right,
or whatever
put these blonkies on my donkey and just getting my asses out of the city. Yeah, man, it's just in shoes. I'm an idiot. I lose things all the time, but I would not wear the wrong shoes out of a place unless they were the same size, same exact kind. Women have more varieties of shoe, and typically I think know what shoes are better. Like no one's walking out in those things accidentally and not realizing it. Especially in this group of rich people exclusively, like don't know what these shoes are. Get out of here with that. Right. So that sucks.
Yeah, at first it doesn't even register with the lady, the hostess, of the party that like, oh, are these even what's the big deal? They're just shoes, Carrie. They're just shoes. And it's like you do know because you used to be a single person, used to live that life. You used to be about that life.
All about that life.
About that life. That you know that these Manola Blanquis are expensive. So and I think like this really could have been avoided if she put even a token effort forward to look for it, to be like, man, Carrie, yeah, this sucks. We're gonna find your fucking shoes. If it takes me a week, a month, the rest of my life, we're gonna find your shoes.
I have a particular set of skills, and I'm gonna track these shoes down. But she doesn't. She does not give a fuck. And then Carrie shows up. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm the first person to ever have children. So my life is different from everybody else who's ever existed. And that is where what I have as our clip of the week comes from. I'm going to play it, where Carrie's going by and this lady offers at first to pay for the shoes. Here's the clip. Boom. So what we have here is Carrie telling her how much shoes cost, $45, and she's like, I'll give you $200. No, my shit was stolen from your house. We're not bargaining here. And then she says, it's crazy to spend that much on shoes. And then Carrie was like, you know how much these shoes cost. The line that killed me was this woman saying, yeah, that was before I had a real life. Kids, houses.
I know, right? We were aghast over here. Yeah. She's standing in her beautiful exposed brick apartment and then talking about how she has houses. Is like, god dang, lady, come on.
Yes. And just
you can't afford some shoes from your klepto friend stole.
Yes. Unnecessarily judgy. And being like, I mean, it's very on the nose for the theme of this episode too, where she says, I just don't think we should have to pay for your extravagant life choices. John's frozen. Wait. Fuck. All right. She's basically like, I'm sorry, Carrie, we shouldn't have to, I just don't think we should have to pay for your extravagant life choices. It's like that. The ones that you steal from me, you mean?
It would be funny if at the end we open up Tatum O'Neal's closet and then just like a bunch of shoes come tumbling out. Because this is the con that she's been running the whole time.
That makes as much sense as anything, honestly. And as Carrie says later, she adds up all the life events that she spent so much money on this woman for, when there's never been one that Carrie's had for the Tatum O'Neal person to spend on her. Now, and this is like, I think plenty of single people feel this sort of inequality in their friendships, where it's like, yeah, if you get people get married, it's like that's a wedding, that's traveling to the wedding, it's a wedding gift, it's buying a dress in a lot of cases, it can be a bachelorette party, that can really add up. And then if you don't have that, you're just sort of like, the money that you spend on this friend is completely out of whack. And so that's a little bit of what's happening here, I think. You know,
yeah,
Carrie's doing that.
It does feel like some sort of like societal inequity, but like I don't unlike every other societal inequity, this is like one that doesn't seem like there's an easy solution for or whatever. Because like unless you do like, I mean, eventually Carrie does a thing where she says she's going to marry herself, but short of sort of making up these life events, like you just have like a larger, more grand birthday where you sort of ask people to get you nicer things, like I don't know, or like have a destination birthday or something. But like, yeah, it's like you're not gonna have a bachelor or bachelorette party, you're not gonna have a bridal shower, you're not gonna have engagement party, wedding, kid stuff, and so that's kids' birth, baptism, birthdays, graduations. So it's a one-way street, you know.
Yeah, and I think Carrie, and none of it would have been an issue in this case if this lady was cool about one fucking thing, which is a thing. And it is, there's, as we say, there's a larger thing here where single people do get the short end of this shit. But the main thing is, don't judge your friend's shit. Like, don't judge her. Like, yeah, she had expensive shoes that went missing at your house, you fucking loser. Like, yeah, who cares? I have expensive shoes in the corner. I've got my Jordans in the back there. That's my expensive shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any kids in them, but I've got these fun shoes. You know, it's like there's just no reason to be this shitty about it. And I kind of like her. I'm totally cool with the marry yourself move in this instance.
Yeah. The only problem with the marry yourself move, in my opinion, is like you basically get that once. You get to do it once, and then like if you ever get married to a different person that's not yourself, it seems like you're kind of double dipping. But then Kristen brought up my wife. She brought up that people get married twice all the time. Like they get divorced. So I guess you'd have to like divorce yourself. You'd have to have like a small ceremony probably.
Yeah, I think there has to be a minimum number of years in between your self-marriage and something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's totally cool to be like, if you're single at a certain age and you want to throw a party, good. Like that's good. I would be totally cool with that as like a standard, not solution, but sort of try to equal the things up a little bit. Here.
And also, I mean, it's tough too, because it's like they're all gifts. It's all gifts, Carrie. So like, if you don't want to give your friend gifts, don't give your friend gifts. You know, you could probably, you could still show up probably. I mean, when I was living in Indiana, I feel like I didn't get like big gifts for like weddings or whatever. Like since moving out here and going to more weddings out here in Long Island, it's like, oh, you most of the time you want to give cash because you but when I was living in Indiana, it's like, oh, it's give them a blender, give them a whatever, like some bullshit, and it's like, yeah, they may need it, they may not. It's kind of who knows. But like basically you're paying for your plate and then like a little bit more. Yeah,
right. That when you go to a wedding or something, you're trying to offset your own cost in some way.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But yeah, in this case, Carrie, you don't. I mean, I just wrote down in all caps, why are you friends with this person? Because Samantha does have her back, which everyone has her back. Miranda too. Everyone's like, fuck this woman. So I think that's cool in this episode where they're like, everyone else gets that this woman sucks. Her husband sucks. The whole group of friends suck. Don't be friends with this person. That's a solution, you know? But even if you are going to still be friends with them, don't get their kid a gift. Fuck it. You know, just get an empty box. Oh, I don't know. Someone must have stolen those. And the gift must be in the same place as my shoes. Fine.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Fuck those kids.
I would have been like, give me the kid's gift back. If my shoes are gone, I'm taking the kid's gift.
I'm gonna go turn that back in. I'm gonna buy myself some shoes. They're not gonna be nice, but I'm gonna buy them. God damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, and and then eventually she registers for the one pair of shoes she's owed, and Tatum O'Neal goes and buys it and sends it to her. No, that's pretty much that, I guess.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's almost like she refused to buy the shoes at first because they were so expensive, and then she finds out how expensive they are in the store, and then she just buys them anyway. And it's like a legal like she got caught in some legal trickery, and like, I have to buy these shoes. But no, it's a very classy, like, Carrie did a funny clapback, I believe.
Yeah.
Term.
Yeah, I think she like kind of called her bluff, and it was a creative solution here. So good on Carrie. I think this is all cool. Yeah, and it's like she one of her silly quotes. She says like, when do we stop being free to be you and me? Which, okay, whatever. But I think it's like, yeah, just don't. If this woman had been cool to Carrie at all here, none of this would have been a problem. And then Carrie felt, judged for her single lifestyle and the way she spends her money, which she shouldn't, like she's not hurting anybody. So.
I don't know. If someone came over to my house and like, if I had a pool or something, like, oh, I'm going to get in your pool, I'm going to take off my $500 watch, and then the watch, that person cannot find their watch after they get out of the pool. It's like, sorry about your watch, friend.
But I get that, but I also think that's different because you didn't tell him to take off his watch. You want to spend $500, make it waterproof, bitch. Then you can wear it in the pool. It's different when it's like she made everyone take the shoes off at the door and then did not,
that's true.
Guarantee their safety. So anyway, yeah, I think that's all with Carrie, right? I mean, it's kind of a big theme, the single versus coupled and the money element of it and judging each other's lifestyles and stuff like that. But I think we pretty much got that, right?
Yeah. It's sort of like, especially when you're single for a while, and it's like, man, it really sucks because everyone that's a couple's, it's like whatever success they have as a couple sort of rubs in your not success when you're single. And then it's like, also give me gifts. Give me gifts.
Yes, totally. And there's so many shitty things that single people get that like legally coupled people don't. Even like fucking health insurance and tax breaks for being married. I don't know why you get a tax break for being married. To me, that doesn't make any sense. If anyone needs the tax break, it's more single people because you're not splitting your costs, But the laws,
government, Big Brother wants you to get married, dude.
They do, and it's
they want you to have kids too. You get a tax break for that. Oh man, having kids is such a racket, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure you're making such a huge profit on these kids. As soon as Lark gets a job, we're good.
The kids are funny in this too. The kid, I mean, Tatum O'Neal is kind of swamped at some point where, it's like, man, I got my own fucking problems, Carrie. Like, what do you want me to do? I can give you a $200 check, or you can try to trick me, to web me in to this fucking thing. But yeah, I've got a kid answering the phone asking for Santa Claus. I got my own problems.
Yeah. Also, I think the fact that having kids also a choice here, and it's like the buying expensive shoes is a choice, and Tatum O'Neal's like, she's like, these kids, my life is on a different level now. It's like, yeah, you chose the kids, and you get a lot from them. You get love,
you get
and
a lot.
You get love. The magic of children in a way that I don't. But you get like a lot from that. But also, it's like, it's a fucking choice. It's a thing. You get the good and the bad, like everything.
Like everything. Indeed. I'll tell you who else is getting a lot from their child is Miranda. That's right. It's the only other person on the show with a child. So
yeah.
She is now. I kind of missed what this is at the beginning. There's some sort of meeting in an apartment. It's I guess it's a co-op meeting. Maybe?
I think so. I think it's because basically it's like reverse Survivor is, from what I understand, how co-op
you got to get voted onto the island. Okay.
Yes. So I think that's what's happening here. When our second name guest star of the episode, Blair Underwood, shows up.
Blair Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what he's from.
It's from plenty of stuff. But he shows up, and he's a handsome man, and he's smooth, and Miranda is digging it immediately. They're looking over his paperwork and stuff, and I think he's a team doctor for the Knicks, I believe.
Right. It's so funny because, like, yeah, Miranda's like at first before he shows up, like, oh, I want to wrap this up quick. I've got a kid to go home to. He shows up, and all of a sudden, it's googly eyes. She wants to
Swing.
draw this out. Swing. She gets a big old lady boner, and everyone else at the meeting's like, "Whoa, Miranda, what's going on in your pants? This fucking massive boner." And she's like, "Don't blow this in front of Blair Underwood. I love him from his various TVs and movie appearances." But yeah, everyone else wants to go through his paperwork, which is like he's a team doctor for the Knicks. Someone's like, I'm not sure about his financials. It's like, team doctor for the Knicks can't get into this goddamn building. Are you kidding me?
It reminds me of a Chris Rock bit, because Miranda plays it well here, where she's like, I think we know what's not being said here, and plays kind of an implied race card in a group
because he likes the Mets.
Yeah, yes, they won't let a Mets person in, but it's a room full of stuffy white people, like stuffy rich white people, and a black guy shows up with a great job and like and by the way, doctor. That seems like that's enough to get into, you would think, to get an apartment in a building somewhere. But like a doctor for the Knicks is like, okay, this is a good doctor. Like this is like a pretty high-end dude. And they're like finding problems. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I would absolutely believe there's racist shit going on here. Miranda doesn't have to say it, though, because she's like, I think we know what's going on here. And the voiceover is like, he was cute and Miranda was horny. Basically,
good writing.
It is, yeah. I mean, they're not wrong.
Calling it like it is, But yeah, he faces discrimination because he's a Mets fan. Miranda's a Yankees fan. This, to me, Kevin, it could never work because I'm a diehard Mets fan, and I don't know if I could ever be with anyone that likes the Yankees.
John's definitely the biggest baseball fan on this podcast, as you can tell by our wardrobes now. If you're watching the video, what is that? Oh, it's a hot dog.
It's the hot dog festival, the Frankfurt, Indiana hot dog festival.
Nice. Well, that's kind of baseball adjacent. That makes sense. Yeah.
So she stumps for him. I guess, I don't know. It seems like Miranda wouldn't have as much say as everyone else, but she has enough say, and maybe laying on, pointing out their perhaps deep-seated prejudices, manages to swing the crew into letting him into the building. And he comes in. They meet up on the elevator, right? That's what it is. They meet on the elevator, and she says something to him that's sort of like, you can. Well, the whole thing seemed a little uncomfortable for me because it seems like she's interviewing the guy, and she's sort of like using it to come on to him, to hit on him. And then in the elevator, she's like, you can thank me. Or she says something like, you owe me for this. Something like, ooh.
This is two cases where I think if things were slightly different, we would feel very differently about it. If she's a guy and he's the woman, I think we feel like this is much more exploitative, and that it's like, I let you in here, so now you owe me a flirt, is kind of, and he was enjoying the flirt too. So it's like they were both in on it. It's fine. But yes, there is something weird. There's a status thing where it's like, I helped you get your place of living. Would you like to flirt now? That is weird, but it's fine. And then later, he sort of just keeps inviting himself over and inviting himself to stay. And it's like, if he wasn't sexy, like this is good looking guy privilege right here is where it's just like, yeah, if he wasn't like a hot dude, you'd be like, can you get the fuck out of here? I have chicken pox and I'm watching my own sexy interracial couple on the television.
Yeah. I'm jilling off in here, actually. Since you ask.
I'm jilling my mind. I'm jilling myself silly to Jules and Mimi.
When they're in the elevator, yeah, he also he cocks his head and is kind of leaning in ooh, is this gonna be a kiss right away? But no, she's got a single chicken pox or something on her face, and he points it out. And then he goes back to her apartment, lets himself in, basically, and starts putting ointment on her. Oh, there's another one. Do you have spots all over? Let me check it out. He's pretty smooth. He is divorced. It should be noted.
They talked about his alimony payments.
And then he starts cleaning her up. Now, and then later on, we see her, and she's laying in bed, and she's covered in spots, which is like, shit, is he just a bad doctor? Because, like, he's tried cheating her, and she looks 100 times worse now. I
mean, I guess once you got chickenpox, you get him. The only thing he can do there is sort of soothe them with the stuff, right? Like, I think that's, so she's just poxing it up right now. I guess she never had him as a kid, and adult chickenpox can be very serious from what I understand. But
Shingles.
But it seems like a mild case here. And Miranda, Cynthia Nixon, like I said, before I watched the show, I didn't realize what a good actress she was, but I think she does good acting be in the awkward moment on the couch when they're watching Jules and Mimi fuck pretty significantly. Her like uncomfortable smile and kind of like side eye peeking over at him, I thought was lovely.
I will say again, I try to mention my wife as often as possible in this podcast.
You're a wife guy.
I'm a wife guy. I am. She said, because he comes in and they turn on the show. He invites himself in to watch this show, like in the middle of an episode, in the middle of a season, presumably. Like, I could never do this with a television show.
Right. The jumping in the middle of a show is what you find most offensive about this sequence.
Unrealistic. And he's like, "Oh, my cable. I don't have my cable yet." It was like, I don't know, dude. DVDs, VHS tapes. I don't know.
I guess this was a different time when if you don't, like, now that we can watch what we want on demand all the time with everything, we're sort of detached from the world where just something being on TV was enough, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that's it.
Right. But he says, like, because it's a British TV show. He's like, "Oh, I like a brother with a accent." And Chris was like, "He's gay. He's gay. This is going to be the twist. He's gay." And I don't remember how this actually ended.
I mean, I think that's it, because I thought something was gonna happen. I thought the move was gonna be made. I feel like we're gonna see this guy again next episode. I feel like we're not done here because we did not see a move made. It pretty much just fizzled. You know, we didn't see the ending in any way. It didn't peak. It didn't.
Yeah, it just cut away from them watching a TV show.
He did bring the kid a little basketball, which, as Jamie pointed out, as you know, the kid is the son of the greatest shooter in New York City.
Wait, Steve Brady?
Basketball, $1 million shot, Steve Brady. Yes.
Steve Brady. Yeah, we take some of his plasma and we sort of make a elixir out of it to give to the Knicks players.
We injected it into Patrick Ewing, and
yeah, Patrick Ewing was 5'4" before he got some of Steve Brady's goo in him.
Yeah, the goo of, I assume, a 5'5" man. I don't know. He's probably a little bigger than that.
He's got the spirit of a 7-footer.
Yeah,
or something.
So that's it for Miranda, and that takes us to Charlotte. Right? Charlotte's the last one.
Good Charlotte. And Charlotte's we've come back around to teabagging.
She's got her own teabag problems.
She does, and it has nothing to do with Harry's balls yet. It has everything to do.
Will.
It definitely will. It's got to do with his drinking habit, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
This guy loves tea. It's like, damn, dude, are you British?
How much tea are you, Jules or Mimi? Because you're being pretty British up in this piece. Yeah, it is. He's drinking a heck of a lot of tea. I tried drinking tea on the regular when I was trying to drink alcohol at night less. I think I've given up on that, I guess. But there was a point at which I drank at least a little bit of tea. And
Does tea get you drunk, Kevin? Does tea get you drunk? I think that's the problem.
It turns out the thing I like is when it calms my brain, is when it shuts out the incessant screaming and worry of my brain. And tea doesn't do that as much. So that's unfortunate. But yeah, he's leaving his tea bags all over the place, which, by the way, is a pretty simple cleanup ask.
It's fucking mental, dude. I cannot believe, like, at least put them in the sink. These things are wet. These things are wet and they leave stains notoriously.
This is a good rule. If it's wet, don't leave it out.
pretty simple, and like, I don't know, dude. Like, what was his old apartment like? He lived alone for a long time. Like, she picked up 3 tea bags in a row, like room to room to room. There were tea bags.
Mm-hmm.
He's drinking tea. When was he gonna pick these things up? Does he do a nightly tea bag? Like, all right, I'm finally gonna go pick up my tea bags after a long day of fucking drinking 20 cups of tea.
Yeah, and it's like he has no awareness, and they're both trying to be nice to each other because Charlotte says she doesn't want to be rigid, and he's being nice in that he's being like affectionate and just like, he's happy as a clam, and why wouldn't he be? He's fucking naked and throwing tea bags all over the place. Yeah. Who gives a shit?
Well, he's not naked yet. He's just dropping tea bags around.
Which is even weirder because it's like, okay, so you're not an automatic naked guy. You upgraded to naked guy after a few days of just teabagging the whole house.
Right. Well, he was trying to be on his best behavior, even though that didn't include picking up his fucking wet, juicy tea bags from all over the house.
And she,
So she's like, yeah. Did she say rigid or frigid? I thought
rigid.
No. Well, I guess it ends up being the same thing. But yeah, she's like, oh, I didn't want to nitpick you because like that's why they kind of broke up, right? Because she was like, don't watch TV during dinner, so she doesn't want to revisit that. She's trying to steer clear of that, and that's nice. But like we've said before, you gotta say what you want because like people aren't mind readers necessarily.
Mm-hmm. So and don't be an asshole about it, but you can be. And she does eventually get there with everything, but with the tea bag, she like, I want you to feel comfortable in your house, and he's like, oh man, I thought I was doing so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was doing so good in your house, and she's like, it's our house, which is a good sentiment. And he's like, okay, cool, it's our house, I'll do what I want, right? And she's like, yeah, great, do it. Just throw away your tea bags. And he's like, cool, no problem. Throw away my tea bags. I'm gonna walk around naked 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And like the first time he shows up, he's naked, and she's like, "Ooh, this is weird." And it's like, is it really that weird, Charlotte? It's not a big deal. He specifically says he hasn't showered yet, and then he goes and sits on something. So he's sitting on it with his whole asshole out, dirty as sin, nutsack, dingus, everything's wet and juicy. And he's leaving his mark on all the white furniture.
You would certainly think, I wrote down naked in the kitchen. To me, that shouldn't usually be the case. Like, look, if it's fuck time, it happens where it happens. If that's the kitchen, great. But otherwise, you shouldn't just be naked in the kitchen most of the time, I would say. But yeah, he's naked everywhere. No clothes, and just like not even acknowledging that it's weird. It's like he didn't know that clothes had been invented, basically. And so I wrote down, John, how naked are you as a man around the house? Probably, well, I guess your mother-in-law is also there.
Yeah, so she doesn't appreciate my nudity as much as everyone else. Kristen loves it. Kristen can't get enough of my naked body.
How naked would you be if your mother-in-law didn't live there?
Well, now here's the thing. I've got a kid now too, and so and she gets grabby. She gets grabby, and she doesn't know. She's got nails, and it's not. So I don't want anything around in that regard. So probably not much now. But I used to be. When I lived with you, Kevin, I'd flaunt whatever I could to try to lure you in. It didn't work. But
I was gonna say, because I think you are a more naked guy than I.
But I'll tell you what, I'm not comfortable unless I'm wearing something between my butthole and a surface, because I don't want. I mean, I live that bidet lifestyle now, so it's better. But I don't want. I don't want to leave any unfortunateness on any furniture or anything.
No, and that's reasonable, and that's polite, and that's and Harry just has no fucking idea. He's just a true, and he's like, oh, I'm like a bull in a china shop. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like bulls.
I've seen a bull wear a diaper before, Kevin.
Yeah. But he's like he's just like extra silly this whole episode. It seems like he's like drunk already the whole time, kind of.
Yeah, it did seem like he was going to an extreme where I was like, oh, is he doing this on purpose to teach her a lesson sort of thing? And like, they never said that. So,
yes. And they did a good job. Charlotte was like, they put her in like the fanciest, most prim and proper housewife outfits. And she had a very good stuffy walk, like walking around. The juxtaposition of the two was very good, I thought. And Charlotte's trying to be cool the whole time. I wrote down a quote that Harry said. He said something, then besides those nutty little soaps in the bathroom. I
remember that.
Which it does also make sense. Like, do you mean a soap, Harry? Seems like you're not familiar with any soap, really. They might all be nutty as far as you're concerned.
Am I saying that right? Soap? Sop? Is it sop? Yeah. Decorative soap. Yeah, Charlotte would be a decorative soap lady, though, for sure.
Yeah, Charlotte also probably, I would say, has on a single bed, minimum 9 pillows, I bet.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But I think this a theme here is the being yourself thing. She says, I want you to be yourself. And I think when people say that in a couple, they kind of mean it. And you can mean it in a lot of ways. But yourself can change a little bit. And you can still have the
be 90% yourself and be 10% more polite than you normally are.
Yeah, 10% just cognizant of someone else existing, I guess, is the key there. I wrote down as a question, what's your weirdest sloppy thing you do? Or maybe not weirdest, but like, what's like a silly sloppy thing you do, or a sloppy thing that you do around the house? Teabag, why? Like teabags, like being naked, whatever, that you've been.
Kristen absolutely hates it when I pick my nails sometimes. I don't necessarily leave the trimmings lying around.
You mean like pick underneath your nails?
No, like if they're too long, I'll reduce them by shearing them off my fingernail.
Gotcha.
Or toenail. And I think the sound of that is really what gets to her. But, I mean, so that's kind of gross, I guess. I think it's very comforting and rewarding work.
Yeah, it's nice to just see yourself making progress physically. Anyway.
Exactly. So that's pretty gross. Man, I bet I could think of other ones, too. That's a good question. Do you have anything? And while you talk, I'll just think about my thing and not listen.
I don't know if it... I think one thing that when Jamie does an impression of me, there's a way she just takes off, like it's me taking off a sock and then just throwing it over my shoulder. Just like going no direction in particular, just like it's gone now.
Out of sight, out of mind, baby.
Yeah, which is a thing I never know I'm doing, but I've caught myself doing when she'll just like laugh. She'll start laughing and I'll be like, what happened? Oh, my sock's gone. Like it's just So the way I just like throw things around, and I'm not like that messy as a guy, I don't think, but I can be disorganized, I think. So the sock, like just tossing socks around is a thing.
Oh man. I mean, she is here in the room.
Yeah.
Should I just ask her?
Yeah.
Hey, do I do anything that's kind of gross or dirty that annoys you?
Like the tea bags,
Like the tea bags in this? No, right? No, I'm perfect.
The nails for sure.
The nails for sure. But that's not really gross. It's just a different lifestyle. It's not really
the nails for
good
sure,
or
but actually
bad.
That's okay. And,
that's actually probably a you problem more than...
Most people say that's a good thing to do, and you should.
I can think of a lot of things Kristen does, but that's not really why we're here.
Yeah.
But no, it's gross. But yeah, if there's something that's like annoying to you, you shouldn't just let it seethe and bubble under a facade until it erupts out of you. Yeah, you definitely should just say something.
Yeah, and I guess they get there eventually. And she really, I mean, she gets to like, just put on some pants. Just put on shorts.
Yeah, just shorts. You still get very much a lot of freedom just wearing shorts around the house, for
shorts
sure.
Are fine.
I will also say the guy who plays Harry here. I would say Harry, the actor who plays Harry, has what I would call like a fat person's head. Not like super fat, but like you look at him and you think he's got to be kind of a thick boy.
That person's head.
The head, his head. I don't know why. Maybe
the bald thing. I think bald has a bit to do with that. Yeah,
maybe. But he's running around here and not wearing a stitch, and he's looking good. It's a good bod.
Strong back, I'll say.
Strong back. This guy could move some boulders.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to say good on you, Evan Handler.
I mean, nice. Good shout out to Evan Handler, too. That's pretty much all I have for this episode, John. I mean, it was mostly about the judging of the single lifestyle by the shitty Tatum O'Neal lady. That was the main theme in this episode, which I think is, I mean, it's one of those things where it's a big theme in every day. It comes up a lot, I think, for single people and
for sure,
single versus couple thing. But
there was I know this is going to be in the future, but there was like a big time tweet that happened that was like, people who don't have children is a privilege or something. I don't know if people will remember that like 6 weeks in the future or whatever, but it seems like it just happened, and it's like, oh, what perfect timing for this.
Oh yeah, I commented on that where it's just like, yeah, I think every choice I've made that you could have made an easier choice, like, yeah, that's a privilege, like yeah, I think it was a guy who said basically not having children is a privilege and we don't talk about it enough. It's like, how much do you want to fucking talk about it? Honestly, it's like, yeah, I think people know kids are hard. Is that the discussion? Yeah, not everything that is hard, not everything that makes your life harder. The opposite of that is not always a privilege. We're losing the meaning of the word privilege if it's like that. You know, I think, like I said, it's like, yeah, not being drunk at 5 p.m. is a privilege just because I've made the other choice. You know, it's like that's whatever. But yeah,
that's fun.
Do you have anything? Anything before we close?
Anything? Just that Tatum O'Neal's character is basically like a sort of an Ann Geddes type, which I enjoyed. She had photographed anorexic models, is what Carrie said, and then she went from that to taking photos of babies inside of buckets or something.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's so that's pretty funny. I don't know. It's just funny that this Ann Geddes, someone's like I'm Ann Geddes in this Sex and the City episode.
Yes. Yeah, that's. I like when this happens in Law and Order a lot too, where it's like there's a character that's sort of it's mapped from a real life character like this, you know, where it's like, oh, you're a Geddes type. I get it. Cool. All right. Well, follow us on Instagram at Sex and the City. It's on Twitter at Sex City. It's Pod. Give us a rating and review if you haven't. That helps us out. And if you want to give us
we're on Parler.
Where are we on Parler?
We're Donald Trump Jr. at Parler.
Yep, we can't believe we got it. We got that.
It's so early. It's so early in Parler. We're on Pestode too. If you want to follow us on Pestode.
If you want something from our merch store, I got Pestode. The t-shirts are selling real hot.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Sweet. That was shorter. So good.